thousands of commuters using PUTCO bus services will have to find alternative transport this morning. The bus company has announced that it's been forced to halt services due to non-payment from the Gauteng Transport Department. Let's get you some insight into how the bus services sector has been handling its affairs generally and what effect the immediate withdrawal of services will have today. Madumo joins us now. He is a union official at the Tirisano Transport and Services Workers Union. Good morning. It's great to see you. Sure, this is a blow to the transport sector on this Thursday morning. Very little notice given to commuters who no doubt at almost 10 to 7 this morning are scrambling to find alternatives.
Indeed, it is, and we, as TASU, we view this as a raw deal to our pure communities, because this that PUTCO is citing, it's not something that they woke up to. They knew that, and by their own admission, they said that they have not been paid subsidies from March this year. But be that as it may, they are having a service level agreement with the provincial government of Department of Transport, to which if and when they did not get the subsidies, the department have been defaulting in paying them subsidies for various other months. One, they should have made contingency plans to alleviate the situation, or secondary to that is that if they did not get joy into that, the PUTCO has previously taken the department, dragged the department to court on urgent basis to force the department to adhere to the contract that they are having with them. So this that it is happening. It took us by surprise as well, because we only knew, they only phoned us yesterday, I think around 5 o'clock in the afternoon, telling us that they won't be operating today. And if in them not being operating, their reasons are that they have not been paid subsidies. And to us, we view that as them settling the scores with the department, using poor communities whom their target market are people who do not have any other alternatives. Let me give you an example. They are ferrying people from as far as Denelton and all that. A single trip from Denelton to Pretoria town, it costs around 75 rand or so. Now you ask yourself as to, if they made their passengers to buy the weekly and the monthly tickets, and then they come with this kind of ambush tactics, how are these poor communities going to go around that? Because people today are going to lose their daily income, and some may stand they may be prejudiced in that they may lose their jobs and all that. So we do not condone this that PUTCO is doing, and we feel that it is not correct, and they should have handled that differently.
So the subsidy you're saying, was not paid since March. What would be the reason for this delay from the Gauteng Transport Department?
Look, normally they do not involve us when that is when they get their subsidies and all that. It is only when things turn sour or when there is a delay that is being brought to us as a union, for us to assist them in exerting pressure to the department. So all along we were under the illusion and the impression that everything is going well in terms of the service level agreement that they've entered into between themselves and the department. So it took only us by surprise yesterday, like I said in the afternoon, that they only realized that they could not operate today, citing that they do not have money for diesel and all those other things. Yeah. So we just like everybody else in the country, we fail to comprehend how do they operate and what their bases are.
What are your concerns as a union in the sector, over this decision taken by PUTCO, and what might be the impact, depending on how long this disruption goes on on workers?
For workers, the impact might be that in future they may be forced, because passengers may look for other alternatives, because this has been going on for quite a while in terms of their service. You find sometimes they do not operate shifts as they should be and all those other things. So passengers may desert them, and in them having passengers deserting them, then it will mean that they'll have to downsize, which will lead to retrenchments in future. So it is our view that this that the PUTCO has done, they should have done that differently. Like I said, that their reasons are not compelling to us. That they wake up today and just realize today that tomorrow we won't be having diesel and we are unable to pay our service providers, meaning they are not solvent as a company. And question will be, at what point did they realize that they are not solvent, and what are the measures? And they've never called us in any other meeting and say, look, we are experiencing this in the midterm or so. So what are your inputs and how do we go around that as social partners?
Yeah, absolutely. You're saying that even this non-payment from government shouldn't cripple PUTCO in this way. But how much of an impact does this apparent lack of support from government in the sector actually have, Solly?
It is massive indeed for the government not to if maybe what PUTCO is saying is correct, for the government not to come to the party in terms of paying subsidies and all that. But we want to be cautious in pointing fingers and all that, because we haven't heard the other side from the government as to whether indeed they have not paid them and what the reasons are for not paying them and so forth. So, but it has impact on both sides, to both the passengers and the workers and the industry as a whole, because this will ultimately lead to detriment of job losses. Yeah,
absolutely. And obviously a massive impact on commuters as well. Solly Madumo, let me thank you for your time this morning. He is a union official of the Tirisano Transport and Services Workers Union, one of the unions in the sector, as we continue to track the story. Disruption to services by PUTCO bus services, apparently because of non-payment from the Gauteng Transport Department.